God, I'm having so many issues with stream stuff. Um, Hopefully we are good now. I have been having so many issues with the stream right now, and I'm not sure if it is working. Let me check. Okay, we should be live now. Holy cow. Like, for the people that were already in the other stream, I am sorry you had to transition over. This has been genuinely the most frustrating trying to do streams. But I'm doing my best, okay? I'm doing my best. It's kind of been a struggle. Just trying to get the stream to go live. It looks like we have decent quality at least, so that's good. Let me go ahead and fix the chat. I don't know what happened with the other one. Like, it said it was going live, and then it just didn't go live, so I don't know. That was really, really weird. So, yeah, bear with me, guys. I don't know what's going on with OBS the last, like, couple days. Let me delete this one. Keep that open. Give me a second, guys. I'm just changing the YouTube chat. Hi, Evie, and also hi, Kuel. Thank you for saying it seems good. I appreciate that. Let me fix the YouTube thing. That will hopefully work for now. Let me just do this. Why is this not? There we go. Still not cooperating. No, it's because it's hitting this. All right, let's do that. Sorry, I'm kind of just going with the flow, trying to get the stream up and working because I had this all ready to go, and then I pressed start streaming for you guys like 5 minutes ago, and it just wasn't going to YouTube. So, all right, we should be good to go now, guys. Hopefully that will work for now. So as I was explaining on the other stream, I don't know if you guys can even hear it or not. Also, hi Ashley. But we are going to be doing the top deaths of the series. Now, I have to use a Game of Thrones tier list just because there's not really ones for A Song of Ice and Fire. So we're going to go through some of these ones, and the first one we're going to be doing is actually kind of a rough one, because I left it in because it isn't A Song of Ice and Fire death, but at the same time, we don't know how this character dies. Like, we don't know who kills Balon Greyjoy. What happens there? There's multiple different ways this could have happened. So I don't know how you guys rank this one, honestly, because you could rank it off of a lot of different ways. So I'm just going to throw that in there. You can go with maybe it's the Faceless Men that killed him. You can maybe go that Euron personally killed him. Who knows? Hi, Connor. How are you? And also, thank you for the kind words. I appreciate it. I'm happy you like the content. Sorry you kind of came in as I was taking a hiatus because I've been sick. For anyone that didn't know why there was no content last week or there was no stream Monday, I was what word just came out of my mouth? I was sick all of last week with basically strep throat. I didn't have strep throat. It actually came out to me when they tested it. But I just had a very red and sore throat, and it was swollen all last week, so I couldn't record. Couldn't do streams last week. And yeah, so last week couldn't do anything. It's Monday. So Monday comes along. I had the stream all ready to go, and internet just couldn't handle what I was trying to do. It just couldn't handle it. I don't know what happened. I tried lowering the settings on a second time doing the stream that day. It didn't work. So we just scrapped it. So now we're here. But yeah, so I hope you guys liked yesterday's video, for one. Yeah, yesterday's video I genuinely really liked doing. It was a fun one. We did Ned 1. It's my favorite chapter of the chapters I've done so far, so I hope you guys liked that video yesterday. Tomorrow, we're talking about the Valarians in House of the Dragon and how they were handled, and also, I don't know, maybe some of the issues with how they did them. And then Saturday, this is a video long in the making. Just it was recommended a long time ago. Well, not a long time ago, but like a couple of weeks, maybe a month ago, about doing a video on Aegon the Fifth and if his whatever he was doing in Summerhall had worked. So we'll be doing that Saturday as well. Hi, Violet, by the way. Going from couple's death to is making question your mental health? Yes, exactly. Well, that's kind of the state I'm in right now. I've been very frustrated with the content I've been able to put out lately. Or I say lack of content. Hi, Matthew. How are you? How was your guys' day, by the way? Um, Ghost of High Heart seen it, so that's a plus. That's true. Um, I've never watched Naruto, I will say. But let me know how you guys are doing. I am just getting back into school, so you know the funness of that. And I live like 40 minutes 40 minutes away from my school, so it like even when I'm only going for like say 2 classes, I feel like I'm there all day because it's like 40-minute drive there, 40 minutes back, and like 2.5 3 hours there. It takes up like so much of your day. And you know, like, so for instance, this is my schedule now. So Mondays I go to school from like noon to about 4:15ish. The problem is I have a massive break in between my classes. My first and my last class, so I have a 2-hour gap, which kind of sucks. Um, but it is what it is. So it feels like I'm there for like all day almost, because it's like I have to leave my house at like 11ish, and then get there, and then do all my class stuff, leave. So I don't get home till like 5. And then I want to do a stream on Mondays. So it's like stream plus then working out in between before the stream starts. So stressful. School brings back the stress and workload once again. But, you know, and then Tuesdays and Thursdays even worse because I have work directly after school. So, you know. It stopped at Connor's hello. Is it good now? Hopefully it's good now. Because I didn't actually have it like pulled up. I didn't realize I had to have it pulled up. My bad. Thank you for letting me know, Violet. Because I'm actually, so I got a laptop, or it's not a laptop, it's like a Chromebook. It's a laptop, but it's like a real low end for school, and I'm actually reading chat off of that. So yeah. Um. Yeah, yesterday was a great video, Grease. Good job. You could tell you like, yeah, it was definitely my favorite, and thank you, Matthew. I appreciate it. I feel like all the main characters seems in this story, peasants and minor nobles may die within, whereas that's true. I kind of agree, J Lord. I've been watching your Maester conspiracy series, superb stuff. Thank you, Connor. It's actually you're watching probably my favorite videos to do on the channel. Those videos I want to revisit them at some point because I think I could improve on those videos, and in a lot of those videos I either didn't have my face cam because I wasn't confident about doing it because a lot of it was reading off of like a Google Doc or something, which I've gotten better at like recording while like reading and stuff. And I also think I could like provide more information that I've learned over this time period of doing that. So I kind of want to revisit those because those are my favorite videos to do. And yeah, I don't know. I always recommend people that have never watched like a lot of my content to go watch those videos because I think those are some of my favorites. What's your major? Mine is mass comm. I was doing computer science, and then I didn't really like doing that much. The overwhelming amount of math that you have to take for that major really just, I hated it. All right, thank you, Violet, by the way. It definitely, I don't think it was good, Matthew, because I definitely did look at it, like, when I went back to OBS, and I saw that it was kind of messed up, but I don't know. We move. All right, so you guys are saying C tier for Balon Greyjoy. I kind of agree. We don't really know the fate of how he actually died yet. And even with that being said, he's not like the most, like, he's not a character we care that much about. You know, like he's a character that I think a lot of people are like, yeah, glad he died. Dude was an idiot. Now Bobby B's a little different because Bobby B gets taken out by a boar, but you know, he also lives on and then he dies in his bed, whatever. He has, you know, good little moment with Ned. Where do you guys put his death? Because it's not like the most emotional or traumatic death, but it's the death that it doesn't shape the entire series because Ned's death's the one that shapes the entire series. But Bobby B definitely has a very impactful death. Jewish says, I discovered your Song of Ice and Fire book reviews the other day and binged them on a long drive. Great content. Keep it up. Thank you. I appreciate that. Yeah, I like doing those book reviews as well. Those are also some videos I really like. So I'm glad you guys are like watching some of the stuff I'm like more proud of, because I know on this channel, like there are certain times when the videos that do the best on this channel are not the videos I'm like the most proud of. Like for instance, the videos that I know always will do well, no matter what I do. If I do anything revolving around George R.R. Martin, and if he's in the title, anything like that, those videos will do really well. And as much as I like informing you guys on what's going on, those videos don't take that much effort. They don't take this or that. Whereas like those videos, like book reviews, where I'm like, you know, going through the entire story, a lot of the themes of the books, what happens with each character. Those ones I'm genuinely more proud of, and especially the Maester Conspiracy one, where it was my first project in which I took a deep dive of the actual book series, where I was, you know, going through a chapter, taking a lot of notes, and trying to put them into a cohesive idea. And I'm very proud of that project. I just wish, I think not wish, but I think I can probably do it better. Whether we love them like Eddard, Roberts, you or Tywin, or hate them all, like the Viserys is the rich do not die well. They do not, especially at weddings. Top 3 most important deaths. I agree. I definitely would put Robert up there as top 3 most important. I think most important probably is Ned, Bobby B. I wonder who we'd go for that third one though, because that third one could be interesting. If we're going at the time of the main story, you could debatably say Khal Drogo, because if Khal Drogo doesn't die, the Dothraki could have possibly come over to Westeros and caused a lot of havoc. So maybe Drogo, maybe you put him in up there at number 3. Hi, Random Stuff. How are you? Baelen's death might have been more interesting and ironic if he ended up being eaten by a kraken. That would be really cool as well. Like there's like a mini kraken type thing. Maybe that's like the epilogue for one of the books. That'd have been really cool. But who knows? I don't know. Is there a trigger? No, she's not. Oh, that's a good one. I forgot about Tywin. I forgot about Tywin. Okay, so Tywin would be in. Yeah, that's actually a good point. KR, you bring up a really good point. I would probably put. Oh my god, that's so hard. Because Tywin. That's tough. I think he definitely deserves to be in the top 3 though. So I kind of agree with you on that. But I don't know if I should, because Drogo is very impactful as well. I don't know. That's an interesting one. That's a real interesting one. Bobby B in A tier. I kind of respect that. I mean, it's kind of a lackluster way where Robert just goes out to a boar. It's not like the most, you know, it's not the best one. By the way, I wish I could just get rid of this, because it takes up so much of the screen. Like, because I'm like viewing it on my other screen, so I can kind of see what's going on. And it's just so hard with this huge gap. And also the reason Ned's in here is because he's on here twice. I have no idea why he's on here twice, but he's on here twice. Not sure why. Okay, so moving on, we have Craster. I don't think anyone had any sympathies for this guy dying. He's definitely not S tier. So we'll just go ahead and put A, B, C, D. Pretty lackluster. Pretty lackluster. I don't know. We'll see what you guys put for that one. But let me know what you guys, how was your guys' day? What'd you guys do today? What'd you guys do? I kind of already told you what I did today. It was pretty, like, self-explanatory. The only nice thing about my schedule is that I really am kind of free on Fridays, which is really nice. It's just like a mental day, right? Where I don't really got a lot of school going on, don't got work. It's just, you know, a nice, like, break where I'm not driving all over the place, or I'm not working. It's just a nice, you know, nice little day for me. But I don't know. Let me know what you guys think. How was your day? What'd you guys do today? Also, my arms / my chest are killing me from workout today. I had chest day today. It's killing me. Playing Roblox while watching the stream. Love to see that, KR. Never got into Roblox, I will say. I don't know. Just never was a fan of Roblox, I guess. I just never really got into it, I will say. But, I don't know. I'm also interested to see where you guys put someone like... Nah, I feel like Catelyn should be S tier. interested where you put Janice Slint, because his death, where it doesn't have the emotional weight of like, oh, a major character's dying, this or that. It's a very satisfying death for John, and it's a really big like moment for John of who he's becoming. I think it's an interesting one. I actually went boar hunting once. Very exhilarating thing when the boar starts charging at you, so you gotta show mad respect for Bobby B. Yeah. I don't know, I could definitely imagine that. Like a full boar coming at you, yeah. Especially when, like, me personally, I'm not the biggest, like, person, right? Like, I'm like, not the tallest. I don't have the biggest, like, build. Like, that would be a little interesting. That's true, J-Lord. I agree on your sentiment here. Had a busy day at work. It's just after midnight for me. Damn, that sucks. Well, so, Connor, do you work, like, night shifts? Or, you know, what do you work there? Do you work just normal, like, a day shift, like a 9 to 5 or whatever? Do you work more of, like, an evening shift? I, personally, am more of someone that likes nighttime shifts. Or not, I shouldn't say nighttime shifts, but I would say, like, evening shifts. I actually really enjoyed the Sam's chapter in Sword of Swords in Craster's Keep. He's such an entertaining, awful... yeah, I think that's also another good chapter of Sam's. I like Sam's POVs until he kind of leaves the wall. That's kind of how I like it. Grease, did you see your girlfriend, Millie, drunk on stage last night? I did not. I saw that they, like, won the award for, like, Best Drama Series, correct, for House of the Dragon, but, no, I did not. I didn't. I saw, like, an image of, like, her on stage, but I didn't really tune into it. But hey, you know, if my girl wants to get drunk, okay, you know, she can do what makes her happy. You know, I'm not gonna hold her back. You know, I'm not one of them controlling boyfriends, okay? She can do what she's doing. She's bringing in all the bread, my lads, okay? She's the one making all the money in the relationship, so you know, just what has to happen. But yeah, I don't know. J-Lord, I'm going to be completely honest with you. I don't know what egalitarianism means. So if you'd like to describe it to me or explain what it means, then I may be able to answer that question. But I don't know what that means. Also, here's something else I want to look at. Hold on. What was I going to... I literally had a thought in my head because I wanted to, like, look up... Oh, okay, hold on. So, I was informed from my Discord that Glidus reacted to the channel. And I thought that was pretty cool. I know I didn't really watch it because I don't like watching people react to my content or talk about my content. It just feels very awkward for me. But I heard he said some good things about it. I know he gave like some other feedback as well. That maybe wasn't as good, but I heard he liked it. As I had some of my friends that like were like super hyped that somebody like, you know, with that amount of following looked at it. But I don't know. So that was pretty cool. That was pretty cool just to see that like our community is like building a little bit. Even people like that are reacting to the channel. So that's cool. Everyone's so shocked that even the people working on the show, they won. Oh, okay. Awesome. Love to see that. Fairness to all, I think. Okay. So if we imply that with Martin talking about in depth, I think that's true. I think there is a idea of that as well, where if that is what it is, what you're saying, Jewish or Jewish. Why did I say Jewish? Did Glidus not leave a comment? Or Gildus, or I know it's, why do I keep doing that? Glidus. I don't know, actually. I don't know. But, I think that he is using this idea that even the High Lords can die. It's not like you're treated differently because you're a High Lord. Everybody has the same, that you are going to reach death. So yeah, I could see where you're coming with that, J-Lord. I don't know if he did it. It didn't pop up on my YouTube studio. I will say that. I can look for you right now, Matthew, if you'd like. If it was on a video, I think it would have been the Viserys one. I know he had that one playing for the most part, but let me look. Let me turn off my volume on my laptop. Also, I'm really happy that that video did really well. Like, I put a lot of time in that video, and I really liked doing that video. But let's see. I don't know. Comments. He didn't leave a comment on that video, so I don't know. Unless he did it on another one, I have no idea. But yeah, so moving on. Craster, you guys put him in C. I think that's fair. I think fair death. Now, Catelyn. Catelyn's death in the books, in my opinion, is horrifying. It is chilling to the bone. And I personally think it is one of the best written deaths in the series. As it's not as like impactful as say a Ned or a Robert death, but I don't know. This is true, J-Lord. I will say us people at my age love to get drunk. I am not one of those people. I don't think I've ever actually been drunk in my life. I'm 22 years old, about to be 23, and I can say I don't think I've ever really been drunk. Cause I don't know. I'm not an alcohol person. I don't blame you if you are. I have friends that you know, they like to indulge in their alcohol like Bobby B. Let's put it that way. But yeah, that is just not me. I'll give it S tier because I'm happy she's gone. You know, I did just read what is it? Is it Catelyn 2? No, it's not Cat. It's John 2, and she is quite the asshole to John. Like, it just makes me, every time I feel like I forget. I like give Catelyn a little bit of credit, and then I read that chapter and I'm like, man, yeah, she's really not a good person. That chapter just gives me the chills every time I read it about the Red Wedding. Oh yeah, like when I do my rereads, when I get to the Red Wedding, I stop because I know I need to be in a certain mood. Two, I gotta be in a good spot to read that chapter. Especially because Rob is one of my favorite characters. It's a rough one. I hate the taste of alcohol. I do as well, Violet. So the only alcohol I really drink, if I do drink it at all, is going to be like wine, lower alcohol drinks. So that could be things like Seagrams and stuff like that. The problem with those is those are usually your higher sugary alcohol. So the problem there becomes I have kind of like sensitive teeth, and also when I was younger, I didn't really take care of my teeth as well as I should have. It makes my teeth hurt a lot. So yeah. All right, give me a second, lads. Ugh. Sorry, my uncle was over, so I was saying hi to my uncle. All right. What I miss here? What I miss? Millie and Emma's acting was good, but I think that Matt or Patty should have got the Emmy. Especially Matt. He made a character where the writers tried to make him a hated character, but saved the character. Yeah, I don't know. It's a weird thing because I think Patty, out of anyone in the first season, should have been the one that got a Emmy. He did, in my opinion, he had the best acting performance of the entire show throughout. And just like how we're talking about, like, Damon was supposed to be hated on the show, and I mean, to a degree, I don't like Damon in the show, but I mean, for the casual audience, he's not that way. I know because I have friends that are casual fans that know nothing about the book and still love Damon, even though he does a lot of weird stuff. To me personally, I do think it probably should have gone to Patty. Now, after that, I think you can maybe, I don't know, like, I think you could even go Allison's younger actress. I think she was pretty good. I think there was a lot of great acting performances. Corliss Valerian, very underrated. I think he was good in the very limited scenes he got, but I don't know. Is George R. R. Martin topping the first one with Stonehearts? Toucan, what do you mean by that? I'm not a big fan of Kat or the Lady Stoneheart stuff, but her death was so impactful. See, Connor, I'm not the biggest fan of Catelyn, but Catelyn and also Lady Stoneheart herself are also around the most interesting storylines in the story for me, usually outside of like Tyrion, maybe. But yeah. Rip Jingle Bell, Rip Jingle Bell. And cutscenes of him being a good guy. Yes, they really painted out Damon or Matt Smith to be not very likable. Same, but I think Stoneheart will be better in the next book. I agree. This is true, Ashley. Yeah, I don't know why they went with that way with Damon's character. It's one of my biggest complaints with the show as a whole, but I don't know. Agree, Patty should have won that Walk on the Throne. Yeah, that to me, Evie, was one of the highlights of the show. It's like the biggest like moment, I feel like, early on in the, well, not even early on, but it's episode 8. But that walk is haunting to me, and it's something that was very positive that they built upon in the show. Agreed, Violet, agreed. And I think Patty did such a great job of, let's also say that they writ his character very well, but he did a fantastic job of showing the pains of ruling, how he was suffering physically, emotionally. They did a very good job of that, and I think, or he did a very good job of that. And he made a character in Viserys in Fire and Blood that was, no one likes Viserys. He's not a character that's very interesting. He's just described as being an idiot. He's just an oaf that just lets people push him around. And we, in the show, built upon that and made it to where, yes, he's still kind of those things, but we understand way more as to why he struggles with ruling and why he is not able to fix the problems that lead to the Dance of the Dragons. So that in and of a whole, I think, deserves a lot of credit by them. So S tier for Catelyn, I think that's a great placement. I think we're going to be followed up by another S tier performance. We have, or not performance, death. We have Ned. Probably the most impactful death. This kickstarts the entire War of the Five Kings. Maybe this was, I think this probably was going to happen either way, even if Ned didn't die. But I think that his death makes it even more so and cements it happening. That scene shows to me how much Viserys cared about Rhaenyra. Exactly. Watch that scene without audio kind of hits different, almost amusing. Interesting. The better question is, Matthew, why are you watching scenes with no audio? You are that, you're that weird kind of guy, we'll say. Now, I will say, if you put Ned's death anywhere but S tier, you are wrong. You're wrong. I don't know what to tell you. The show Viserys kind of reminds me on how Aenys was during his reign. Yes, and I think Aenys is probably worse than Viserys. I think that's just based upon Aenys was in a situation where There's rebellions everywhere, openly. And it's not like this whole idea where, oh yeah, it's just off in the Stepstones, what does it matter, right? There were rebellions going on in Westeros, like in the Vale. The faith was growing against them, and Aenys did nothing. And to a degree, we know why, because Aenys wanted to keep peace. He didn't want to start, war and all these things. But because of his inaction, nearly brought down the entire Targaryen house. Like, if it wasn't for Maegor, if there wasn't somebody that was as quick to action as Maegor, and wasn't as ruthless as Maegor, there's a good chance the House Targaryen would have failed, even with their dragons. And that's why you have to give Maegor some credit to that as well. And Maegor did a lot of good for House Targaryen. In the long run, that would have eventually had to have happened anyway. But, it is interesting the way history remembers certain characters. And that's something Fire and Blood really tests you on. Because all of the information I just gave you, right, would seem Maegor seem more of a positive light, is something that in Fire and Blood is just discounted. I don't know. That's something I really love about Fire and Blood. And I had somebody in one of my classes who was reading Fire and Blood, and I was interested to see like how they liked it. And because it's a book that some people just won't like. I don't know. It's a book that if you like having, an unreliable narrator trying to figure out yourself what truly happened, then yeah, you'll like it. But if you don't like that aspect of it, you won't. And like, for instance, so for me, Dune is a series that's beloved by many people. And so far, I'm trying to like it, right? Because a lot of my friends like Dune. I just can't get into Dune the books. The movie I thought was pretty good. It was, and I'm also, let's put this into perspective, I'm not a sci-fi person. I'm not really into like the space stuff and all that. I'm not really a fan outside of Star Wars. And Dune to me, fundamentally from a storytelling point of view, is very unique in the way that, whereas we have A Song of Ice and Fire where it's one POV, so we're constantly in, for instance, Catelyn's head during the Red Wedding. The way Dune, from what I can tell so far, I'm only about 50, 60 pages in, the way they would do that scene where they would have it bouncing off of POVs. So you'd have it be a Rob, Catelyn, you'd see all these different people during this event. And I'm just not a fan of that take, because at times, I won't say it can be confusing, but it can be very, very awkward when you go from, for instance, the main character Paul's POV to then the Ben and Gesserit's main mother or whatever, to then Paul's mother's. It can be really weird at times, and also the way that the story is presented, where it feels like early on, or I guess just right now, where the story it kind of lays out exactly what's going to happen to you. It's not like, it's like, for instance, this is how I will show about it, because you get the Harkonnen's POV, which I thought was a very mind-boggling decision early on. Like, I think you can do a Harkonnen POV after their big takeover thing, but it seems odd that so early on we're told exactly what's going to happen, more or less, to Paul's family, like how they're going to get betrayed, all these things. It's like if in a Clash, right, at the end of Clash or something like that, they're like, yeah, let's have a meeting of a POV with Walder Frey, Roose Bolton, and Tywin Lannister planning out the Red Wedding. It's very odd to me the way that was done, but I don't know. And I don't think Dune is bad by any stretch of the imagination. It's just me storytelling the way I've grown up with it and the way I enjoy it. It's a bit weird the way a story like Dune has gone about doing it, which is very unique, and I understand why a lot of people like it. I wonder how long it would have taken for Ned to reveal Joffrey's true parentage if he were to be King Regent after Bobby B's death. So I just don't think that ever would have happened, Jewess, because for one, that's not the person Ned was. If Ned was going to do that, he would have to basically go into this position knowing that he holds on to this information that Joffrey is just not the true heir. So I don't know. I think if Ned was going to do that, the way he would have done that is he would have more or less tried to basically communicate to Stannis to get his armies ready to then take King's Landing, more or less. But I don't know. The Expanse. I have never heard of that, Connor. What is that about? The movie was was pretty good. I thought the movie was pretty good as well. I think it could be slow at times, but I thought it was pretty solid for the most part. Wasn't like, so this is how I'll put it. I thought the movie was good, and I can definitely understand why people would really think it's like a 10 out of 10 movie. For me, it just didn't really capture me, I guess, into the story. I don't know. Like, I just wasn't as intrigued to something like a fantasy or a drama along those lines. Like Game of Thrones. Like Game of Thrones, like within the first like 5 episodes, I was like hooked into the series. Dune hasn't really done that for me. I think it's an intriguing concept and an intriguing idea. I just haven't really, I don't know, it hasn't really hooked me, whereas some other ideas have. But yeah, so let's move on. Ned is an S tier. Whoever put Ned in C tier, you are definitely a sinner. Like, I don't know what to tell you. Oh, I was about to put him in actual C, but yeah. All right, so moving on. We now have Jaina Slint, and I think Jaina Slint is a low-key underrated death because it, for one, establishes Jon's character now that he's become Lord Commander, shows more of who he's becoming. And also, it's just a satisfying death because we know Jaina Slint, you know, was very complicit in taking down Ned. He's been an ass to Jon ever since he's been at the Wall. It's an interesting one because personally, I think this one could be a B, maybe even A tier, just depending on how it goes. How you guys think? Haven't read the Dune books, though I plan to sometimes. My main issue with the universe is the Holtzman shield, just for the sake of making Dune universe be dependent on sword warfare. That's another good point, Can, where it's one of those really weird ideas where they're trying to make it kind of like a medieval fighting style, but having it in a sci-fi universe. It's an intriguing idea, and I don't mind it maybe as much as you do, Can, but it is an interesting concept when you think about it. But I don't know. I think it's an interesting idea. I think the whole like idea of Dune is very intriguing, where you have all these factions trying to gain power, this main kind of planet. This is, again, I have a very limited knowledge of Dune. I've only read 50, 60 pages into the first book and watched the movie. So I don't know where the, you know, where it goes after like the movie events more or less. I know they're kind of different as well. But it's a very intriguing idea where you have these backstabbing over this planet to gain more power. It's an interesting concept, and it kind of feels like a sci-fi version of Game of Thrones, even though it is, the themes are vastly different. Whereas like Dune has this idea of kind of like the chosen one. Game of Thrones doesn't really have that. It's a little bit more grounded, but there are still kind of the same beats with both of the narratives, or narratives. Is that the word? Let's say mediums. That's a better word for those. But I don't know. It's interesting because, you know, I have friends that really like Dune. I don't know. I like it, but it's not something I could ever see myself sitting down reading like a couple chapters back to back. Because Dune also, I think, in the beginning is very much, they throw a lot at you very quickly, and it's like really like a really like historical dump, and I'm just like, I don't know. It kind of takes me out of it a little bit, but I don't know. Anyone excited about the Last of Us TV series that has Lyanna Mormont and Oberyn? I saw that. I don't really know anything about Last of Us. So I might give it a watch. It could be interesting. I don't know. Interesting idea, J-Lord. Interesting. The Expanse is set in a near future where we have colonized the solar planets or solar system and get into the politics of Earth, Mars, and the Belt outer planets, and a weird alien object appearing in the system. Interesting, Connor. Interesting. It's a very interesting idea, actually. Evie, you can't wait for the Last of Us series. It does look interesting. I just don't really know much about it. I know it's a zombie apocalypse type thing. Thirst. Also, since you have melatonin in your name, here's the melatonin I was taking to fall asleep when I was sick. But yeah. That's an interesting idea, J Lord, because there is this idea that Jon Arryn goes to Dorne, And we're told it's like basically to kind of like create peace or whatever. Because again, think about it from this point of view. Elia was just killed. Her children killed. Not a good look, right? You just killed Duran's sister. Dorne would be pissed off. They were also in rebellion, or not rebellion. They were also fighting for the Mad King, and not, again, not probably because they wanted to. It was more because of Elia. But there's this idea that Jon Arryn goes there, and then nothing kind of comes out of it. Like, there's no war, there's no rebellion. Little interesting that nothing kind of comes of that. But I don't know. Jon Arryn to me is a very suspicious guy. Like, he does a lot of things that are very suspicious, but I don't know. Also, thank you guys for the support on the stream. I'm just looking at it from the laptop. We have, unless YouTube's wrong, we have 22 concurrent viewers. So that's really nice. You'll love to see that. Thank you guys for the support. Janis leading the Night's Watch as a Lannister puppet would have been interesting. That really would have been interesting. How would Janis have gone about leading the Night's Watch? With Janis being in control of the Night's Watch, would that have given them more support? Would they have been able to get more men, more funding? How would Stannis then have reacted to the Wall? Right? How would things have gone there? Because if Janis is now in control of the Night's Watch and Stannis is also there, very interesting ideas here. That would have been a very interesting idea, Jewis, as you talk about. Yes, video game adaptations do not have the best track record. I've heard anyway. I don't really watch a lot of those, but I've heard. That is true, Ashley. That is a good point. Jon, is she Sansa's champion? Well, we see the two get together. I hope, dear God, not, but, you know. Because Slynt handled Ned's head after Zeke. Yes. On what basis are we rating deaths? So, I have a couple things that I would go to if I was voting on these. One, how impactful was their death? What did their death impact? So, for instance, Ned and Robert Baratheon, two of the more impactful ones. Was their death in an interesting way? So, for instance, Catelyn getting her throat, at a red wedding, pretty interesting. Ned getting his head, taken off after we thought he was going to be safe, very interesting. On emotional impact to you as a reader. So was this a satisfying death, as in like a Janis Slynt? Was this a emotional gut punch for you? Those would be the criteria that I would be looking at. So that would be how I would do it, Jesse. It looks like we're tied at A and B with a little bit more leaning towards C. So I think we'll go ahead and put Janis Slynt in B, just based upon the fact that a lot of people thought C and it was tied at A and B, so it kind of leans more towards B. That is true, J-Lord. It's very interesting because we're told here that Jon Arryn's a very responsible guy. He's someone that was very respected, right? But yet he bankrupts the realm. Is this because he couldn't temper Robert's indulges? It's an interesting idea because Jon Arryn is the hand of the king. He doesn't overrule Robert. Interesting idea. That'd be so fudge if Sansa and Jon got together for whatever reason, but Jon does like the redheads. That's true. That's true. I think it's very interesting when you look at the original like chapters for a Game of Thrones, and that George had planned to do a relationship with like Arya and Jon. I think that's so weird. It's just so weird. I'm so glad George like stopped doing that, because that was a terrible idea in my opinion. But because like when you read, okay, any of the early chapters with Arya and Jon, right? They do not come off as being like more than just older brother, younger sister type relationship. Like, I don't know. It's Dany and Val, no one else for Jon. Yeah, I can see that. And that money would be sent in secret to Duran, and Oberyn would laugh as they avenge. That is true. I mean, that is a good point. But I don't know. Because I feel like at that point, if they were like able to be inside Robert's court, he could have done much more to actually avenge them. I don't know. I don't know though. Wasn't Tyrion also in that love triangle and burned Winterfell? I think it was something like that, actually. I don't remember exactly, but it was something like that. Also, Jaime Lannister was supposed to become, like, the big bad, was supposed to become king of Westeros, killing off all of, like, the children, and then blaming it on Tyrion. There was some interesting ideas going on in that first manuscript of A Game of Thrones. I'm kind of glad he didn't go that route. I wonder if Jon Arryn was a secret Viserys supporter or extension to Jon or maybe young Griff. I mean, it's possible. I do find it kind of not likely, just based upon the fact that Jon Arryn openly went in rebellion, and he could have just as easily have gotten rid of Robert and Ned and would have been fine. But I don't know. I don't tend to think so on that, Matthew, but it is possible. Yeah, I agree, Jewis. That was very odd love triangle that I don't know why he ever thought of that, especially with Arya. Because Arya is so young. Like, I know, like, I don't remember how old she is at the start of the story. Because I haven't gone to Arya once. I forget her age, but it's so weird. Because John's 14. Like, I don't know. It's just weird. I guess because maybe originally George was going to do the time skip as well. Maybe it would have been more understanding. I don't know. But yeah. But speaking on Jeor Mormont, this is another interesting one because it is very impactful. As in, it opens up the door to Jon becoming Lord Commander. It also takes not Lord Commander. It takes away Jon's, like, I guess, father figure at the wall, or like the person he looked up to at the wall in Mormont. It kind of puts this uneasy chaos to the wall that is allowed to happen because Mormont is dead. Also, the way Mormont gets betrayed is just it's a rough one. It's a rough one. Not the best. Maybe there will be a love triangle involving Jon and Tyrion, but a different woman, Dany. Maybe that's very possible. Even with time jump, I agree, Violet. I agree. I'm trying to, like, find some way in which it makes sense, but it just doesn't make any sense. I don't know, though. Like, I really don't like the idea of there being a love triangle over Dany, because it's like Dany's whole plot right now. Her whole plot is about almost, like, not her whole plot, but it's basically this idea of, like, people are trying to marry Dany, but Dany's married to this guy already, or Dany just doesn't want to. And I'm like, I just don't like the idea of every guy that Dany runs into falling in love with her. Maybe J-Lord, maybe. I'm not sure on that. I don't know. Because Jon Arryn's actions are quite suspicious, like you did say. They're very suspect at times. And I don't know. I don't know. With Jon likely being Rhaegar's son, I wonder if George is trying to echo Lyanna and Rhaegar's relationship with Jon and Arya, as Arya is compared a lot with Lyanna. So that's possible. That's very possible, George. That maybe that was the idea behind it. It could be very possible. I need no love triangles in Song of Ice and Fire. I kind of agree with you on that, Violet. I think that if there was going to be a love triangle with Dany, it would be between Jon and Daario. I think I think at this point Daario may be out of the story. She's the Westerosi Marilyn Monroe. Yes, that is correct. The three-pronged blue-bearded king. Yes. Well, can you blame them? Well, okay. To be fair, Dany's like 16. So, I mean, it makes sense for people like Jon, but everybody else is kind of swooning over a younger girl. So, little, you know, it's a little, I kind of agree with you on that, Evie, though. I do agree on the love triangle type thing. What if the only love triangle happens between Drogon, Rhaegal, and Viserion? You know what? That's all right. I'm okay with that one. Hopefully, we get more dragons because of it. Not good for the rest of Westeros, but it'd be pretty cool for the Targaryens. Makes sense, J-Lord. Do you think John was trying to sabotage Robert's reign on purpose? I don't know. This is such a tough question to ask, Violet, because it doesn't make sense as to why he would. I think it's more on the idea that John, for one, was not able to roll Robert in. And we knew that John was able to kind of control Robert to a degree early on in his life. But I think Robert, as he came into his own man, was a veteran of a war, becomes king. I think at some point, think about it with Ned and Robert. Or not, yeah, Ned and Robert. Ned wasn't able to do that. Ned was not able to, when Robert's going to send assassins to kill Daenerys, Ned wasn't able to calm him down or get him off that. So maybe it's just this idea that Robert wanted his way so badly that even John wasn't able to stop that. And that's why his reign is in debt and also corrupt. You gotta stop, Jewess. You gotta stop. Maybe Arya was older than the original outline. That could be possible. Was Jon Arryn not in league with Stannis? They both knew about Joffrey's true origins, and then Stannis jumped over to Dragon. Yes, that's correct. So that's the other thing, is that Jon Arryn does kind of realize, not very late, that Joffrey and Myrcella and Tommen are not Roberts, and he was not able to tell them in time, which is a little unfortunate. But I don't know. It's interesting. There's a lot of interesting things that go on that just Jon Arryn is just, I don't know. I don't even care more dragons for the sake of the Targaryens. I just hope that the dragons would continue to exist after the series and not go extinct again. I don't know, because I think the dragons going extinct makes sense for the narrative that George is making of war is awful. It affects the common people the worst. Dragons being around invites that conflict to continue happening. But I don't know. We'll just have to see with where George wants to go with that. So Jeor Mormont, we're going to put in B. I think we have another S tier one. This is another S tier one. We've got Joffrey Lannister, or Baratheon, whichever you want to say. To me, this has got to be S tier. Very satisfying death, hugely impactful. Had all of the significance you really want. He could have said something other than the seed is strong, not a great clue. Yeah, that's true. Okay, so this is something I don't remember. Who is in the room when Jon Arryn dies? That's my main question. Because this is a really big thing of, if Jon Arryn is dying, correct? Why wouldn't he, and in Robert's in the room, why wouldn't he just say, yeah, your children aren't the true ones? Like, it's a little bit interesting. So if any of you guys remember exactly, like, because when Jon Arryn's dying, we hear that he says the seed is strong, right? Who is in the room? We know Lysa is in the room. We know, I think, Robert Baratheon at some point. Why wouldn't Jon Arryn just say it then? Does he think that Robert's not going to believe him? Well, what does it matter at this point, right? And also, Jon Arryn knows that Stannis knows that this is the truth. So why not just say it? I don't know. I don't know. Jewess, do you know why Jeor volunteered for the Night's Watch? I think Jewess, the reason he did that is, one, is he saw the Night's Watch as being a very honorable place to go. And I feel like Jeor felt like his house is in a very stable position, that he could go do something like that and do something that he believed was very impactful. Kind of going there like the same reason as like John did, as in like finding glory and honor for his house. That's true, J-Lord. I don't know if I'm completely on board with that. I haven't really seen any evidence to suggest that the Martells would know how to use a glamour, but it's possible. If it's just Grand Maester Pycelle, Crooks, and KR, then that would mean that there was no real reason for Jon Arryn to say this. Because if Jon Arryn tells Maester Pycelle, oh yeah, Robert's Baratheon's kids, they're not actually Baratheons, Pycelle is just not going to even say anything. So maybe it is a good idea for John Aaron to leave it encoded. If Maester Pycelle is the only person there, that's when he's kind of dying and you know, whatever. It is interesting. I wonder if Stannis and Jon Arryn would come to an impasse, Stannis believing he's the heir, and Jon thinking the throne should go to Edric or possibly Gendry. So that's another interesting question. Who would Jon Arryn believe is the appropriate heir? Would he think it's Edric? Would he think it's Gendry? We never really know that answer, but we know that Jon Arryn takes an interest in these children. Now, I think he was probably more on the idea that they were Robert's children, for one, and two, just to validate what his suspicions, just like how Ned does. I think Jon Arryn, it would really depend, because here's the thing: if Jon Arryn's able to tell Robert Baratheon that, hey, these kids, this Cersei Lannister, they've been lying to you, and all of that gets cleared out. We also know that there was a plot that maybe Marjorie could have been the next person Robert marries. We know that had been going on. That was what Renly's plot was early. And that makes a lot of sense for Robert. The Tyrells are very rich. It's a house that makes sense. And that all makes sense for Robert Baratheon. Also, there is maybe this thing that she might look a little bit more like how Lyanna would have looked. It makes much more sense. And so, if that happens, I don't think we'd even get to the idea that Stannis is the heir or these bastards are the heir, because I think Robert Baratheon would have just had more kids with Marjorie. And then the end, that would have solved the issue. So, it is interesting how that would have gone. I think dragons are unnatural to that universe, so I think they'll definitely go extinct for good this time by the end. Yeah, I agree. I think the dragons are kind of destined to eventually die. All right, so we have S tier for Joffrey. I definitely agree. Into S tier for Joff. I think that's maybe where we're going to end the stream here. We got a good hour stream in, and we'll probably either continue. Maybe we might do a little bit on Friday with my chapter kind of analysis. Maybe do some of it at the back end. We didn't really get through much, but we were having a good time talking about other things in the series, and I was having a good time with that. So yeah, I think that Jon Arryn would have considered Edric a better choice than Gendry, simply because both of Edric's parents were noble-born. I think that also is that the idea that Edric had been educated. He is known to be he had been known to being one of Robert's kids, like publicly. He had been treated really well. He was liked by the people at Storm's End. So I think Edric, if we're gonna go off of the bastard children, he would have been the one that would have been there. But yeah, so thank you guys all for watching the stream. Really, really good stream, just support-wise, interacting with you guys. I kind of got off topic a lot. Didn't really do the tier list as much. Thank you guys for coming in. Hopefully the stream runs a little bit smoother next time. I don't know what was going on earlier, but whatever. And yeah, and I hope to see you guys all tomorrow in the Velaryon video. It should be a little bit of an interesting one. I hope you guys understand where I'm coming with that video. I'm not gonna really explain it now, but